So hello guys, welcome to episode 13, season 3 here of F1 Manager 23. Now if you didn't watch the last episode in Hungary, it must be said it wasn't a circuit that was going to exactly suit us, so we took some engine penalties and we did rather well, finishing P5 and P8 on the day. Possibly could have got Esteban Ocon with another couple of laps, but I was quite happy with what we did. Max Verstappen and George Russell, the two Red Bulls going at it all afternoon, separated by under 0.2 of a second in the end. It must be said this weekend will suit us a little bit more. Just before we get into that, let's have a quick look at the standings. Of course, we are second by a point in the constructors, ahead of Ferrari, Mercedes in P4, Aston Martin in P5. We've got quite a gap to Red Bull, it must be said, of 294 points. Driver standings wise, Lando Norris is in P3 by 41 points from Checo Perez in P4. Verstappen's leading the way and he is 88 points in front of his teammate George Russell. Pierre Gasly's in the top 10 as well. He'll be looking to overtake a couple of these guys in front. Of course, as always, there is the F2 and the F3 driver standings, and constructor standings wise, the F3 and the F2. Trident doing rather well. Trident seems to be the bit of a Red Bull in the F2 at this moment in time. Before we get into this weekend car analysis, we are still looking at upgrades, of course. I am very aware of the need to upgrade. We are still the best at high-speed corners on the entire grid. We're not the best at engine cooling and brake cooling, it must be said, but we're still doing okay, and we are developing the car at the moment. We've got a new underfloor and side pods that we're trying to get sorted out. I don't think we'll actually manufacture these. I think we'll probably upgrade the next upgrades. We'll manufacture the next upgrades, so we are looking at that. And of course, we've got research for next season as well, because if I just show you that, if I go on the car parts development and the research screen, we've got major technical changes in most areas next season. So I am conscious that we need to put some research in to next year's car as well. So a lot to be looking at there. And of course, we've got the cost cap to monitor, which is currently standing at 12.4 million remaining, which is not exactly tons if you consider we're just over halfway into the season. But all that being said, let's have a look at this weekend's Grand Prix. It's a sprint weekend, so it's going to be a little bit of a longer episode. It's Belgian, of course, Spa. We've got 44 laps around here, the longest lap on the circuit. We're expecting a little bit of rain on Friday and Saturday. Sunday looks like it's going to clear up quite well. If we have a quick look at the expected strategy, it is a one-stop from softs onto mediums. But, interestingly, car attributes, high-speed cornering is crucial, so we can expect a decent weekend here in Belgium. So I'm going to get through practice and I shall see you in qualifying for the Belgian Grand Prix. We have had an absolute disaster in Q2. We got caught out by traffic and Pierre Gasly is down in P15 for tomorrow's sprint race. Lando Norris just about got into Q3. That is so disappointing, but now we try and put it on pole position. And ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be it. We are going to get one dry run-in Q3, and it's going to be the first one. We can already see the drops of rain starting to come down. Lando Norris was purple through the middle sector. It's just gone to green. Lando Norris, are we going to put it near pole position today? The track's getting more and more damp as he's going round Pourchaire. It is first. Lando Norris a 10th behind him. And if we fast forward on a little bit here, Verstappen, my word, that is some lap to say it was raining when he was halfway around. And I think that is going to conclude. We'll come back to the full classification at the end. And there we have it then. Max Verstappen, of course, on pole position by 0.3 of a second from Esteban Ocon. George Russell will be disappointed down in P5. That was an amazing lap by Max in Q3 on that dry session. Lando Norris in P7. We've got to move forward tomorrow with both cars. I'm sure we can do that. Let's have a look what tyres we'll be using for the sprint. Right then guys, tyre choice is simple. The soft compound tyre is easily the quickest over this distance. It's 15 laps around here, of course. So P7, P15, Gasly will be really looking to move forward here. There's no rain predicted, as we can see, for this sprint race. So let's get straight into it and see if we can move forward.
15 long and challenging laps await the drivers in today's sprint here at Spa.
And once the lights go out here at Spa, the attention will shift to the first corner, a turn that has seen its fair share of dramatic incidents over the years.
Forget the scheduled pit stops today, it's all about racing. Here we are, the sprint around Spa-Francorchamps. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And away we go, and straight away we could see Esteban Ocon was pointing his car at Max Verstappen into turn one. We're going to ride on board with this, but Max Verstappen gets through. Lando Norris actually lost the position from Nick De Vries. And he's down into P8 at the start of this. Pierre Gasly, of course, looking to move forward as well. As we take a ride on board, as we go through Eau Rouge, and we can see Pierre Gasly sitting in behind Alexander Albon. He's got a very quick Aston Martin in front of him, it must be said. I would expect Lando Norris to be able to navigate past the Haas and possibly the Aston Martin as well, and get up towards the top three. But it's pretty much as you were early doors here. Lando Norris in P8, Verstappen leading from Ocon. Everybody is on the soft compound tyres today. Let's see who can make their tyres work, who can make them last, of course. Mick Schumacher, poor old Mick Schumacher, all the way at the back in the Audi. Right, a little bit to tell you about. Alexander Albon has ran wide at turn 12, but this has been one of the most uninteresting sprint races I think I've ever watched. There's hardly been any movement at all. Pierre Gasly, it must be said, now he's up into P14. He's pushing on a little bit here. We may have to conserve fuel a little bit. Lando Norris has been stuck behind this Alfa Romeo Haas for absolutely donkey's years. And now he's finally got past him into turn one, and now he's got the run up to Eau Rouge, which he should just about manage to fend off that car. But now he's got a 2.8 second gap to Lance Stroll. He's not managed to move forward much today. Neither, it must be said, has Pierre Gasly, who is 1.4 seconds behind Valtteri Bottas. Max Verstappen is leading, but Ocon, he is staying with him. As much as I thought this was going to suit our car, we have really struggled to make overtakes so far today. But as we've got 10 laps to go now, it's P7 and P14. And on lap 7, Pierre Gasly is back in the fight. He's now up on the back of Yuki Tsunoda. Both our cars have been absolutely pushing like mad to try and make moves so far. But Lando Norris now just about sticking in the DRS of Lance Stroll. It's good work from Pierre Gasly as well. He's going to try and shift to the outside here into turn one. Can he get the job done? Not at this moment in time. He's going to get a better run. And once he's past Eau Rouge, he should get a better run on the DRS straight coming up than he will do at this moment in time. But Pierre Gasly looks like he's going to go for the move up Eau Rouge. Let's have a quick look at this. But no, he won't. He will get the job done down the next DRS straight, I'm sure. Lando Norris is really struggling to chase after these Aston Martins. But we are doing okay on his tyres. Lap 8. Lap 9. Lando Norris once again very much back in it now. He's got Lance Stroll in front of him. He's managed to catch him up. We're just going to turn the ERS down to neutral a little bit. Pierre Gasly now up into P11 as well. He is now 2.4 seconds from Checo Perez. Lando Norris is going to score some points today. Is he going to manage to overtake Lance Stroll here into the bus stop chicane? That would be rather lovely, wouldn't it? We're going to keep his eye on this as he's stalking this Aston Martin into the bus stop chicane. Can he get a move done here? Braking. He looks like he's got a little bit more control than that Aston Martin at the moment. Stroll isn't going to get DRS. We certainly are. And Lando Norris using all the slipstream he can possibly use as we switch back to the television camera. He's going to the move into turn one. Shoves Lance Stroll a little bit wider. And now Lando Norris up into P5. Pierre Gasly 2.2 seconds into chase to Perez in front. It must be said, Pierre Gasly has been getting all the encouraging words from his race engineer, and he's now back in the DRS of Checo Perez. Once we've got in some clean air, we've been very, very quick today, it must be said. But we are going to keep an eye on this battle because Lando Norris, as he goes up through Eau Rouge and Blanchimont, he is going to get the chance to get the move done and up in to P4. He may even go for it now. We're actually going to use the helmet cam here as we go up Eau Rouge. We've not seen this for a little while. Helmet cam. He's going to get that DRS wide open very shortly. He pulls to the outside, and Esteban Ocon does manage to block him off. Lando Norris can't quite get through yet, but I don't imagine it's going to be too much longer until he does. Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly can see this battle in front of him. He's got 3 cars, and 3 into 1 doesn't go, and it is going to be Nick De Vries holding off the Mercedes of Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz, of course, this is the first episode we've really recorded since the news about Hamilton to Ferrari. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed. But De Vries in P9, Sainz in P8 in the Mercedes. There's a good chance we might see Sainz in the Mercedes in real life. But Lando Norris is all over the back of Esteban Ocon. And with 3 laps to go, Lando Norris has got got Esteban Ocon up into P4 now. Could he possibly chase down George Russell in the Red Bull? This has put us in a better starting position for tomorrow. Lando Norris is doing really, really well today, as is Pierre Gasly now. We're still on the back of this Ferrari. If we could get in the top 10, that would be ideal. But do we fancy Lando Norris to get it P3? It could happen. Pierre Gasly, lap 14, has got Checo Perez. He's now got Nick De Vries and Carlos Sainz in front of him. He's got the fuel, he's got the tyres. He can attack now on this final lap. And another man that can attack is Lando Norris, because he's got George Russell in front of him. Russell, who hasn't got DRS, it may be added. And Lando Norris might get on the podium here. In fact, he's going for the move now. Is he? No. He's just going to tuck in behind George Russell. And now we're going to tell him to be aggressive on the overtake, because once he gets up Eau Rouge, he will get the chance to attack George Russell. In fact, he's gone for the move now. And Lando Norris, as he comes up Eau Rouge, is in front of George Russell. Was that the right time to overtake? Absolutely, because he's got DRS as well. And he can now see Charles Leclerc in front of him and Max Verstappen. At the moment, Lando Norris is going to be starting on the second row for tomorrow. Could he possibly get himself on the front row? He can see a Ferrari and a Red Bull in front of him, and he's quite okay in this company, as we all know and love Lando Norris. Pierre Gasly now looks like he's pretty much settled in P10. We are going to stick with Lando Norris, who's using all his ERS, and we'll take it round the last little bits of this lap, because as much as Max Verstappen and Leclerc are fighting, Lando Norris is gaining all the time. We're going to get a decent run up to the line here. It's just possibly not short enough to get there. Pierre Gasly, in fact, though, has got Nick De Vries, and what a move that is from Pierre Gasly. This bodes very, very well, by the way, for tomorrow's Grand Prix, it must be said. We've been on aggressive all the way through, and Lando Norris in P3. Is he going to get a chance to get past Charles Leclerc up to the line? I mean, this is how close we are to the Red Bulls and the Ferraris. Here we go then, bus stop chicane. Last couple of corners in this sprint race, and what a sprint race it's been. But Lando Norris, it's only going to be good enough for P3, which is a great drive from P7. Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly in P9. Look at this train of cars here. Fantastic work from Pierre. 15th to 9th. It's been a very decent Saturday here at Spa. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Max Verstappen winning, as we saw. Leclerc in P2. Lando Norris gaining 4 positions into P3. What a drive from him. And Pierre Gasly, the biggest gainer on the day, going from 15th into P9. All bodes well for Sunday. Let's have a look at the strategy. I've got to say, guys, there is not much strategy to be done here. It's soft onto medium. It's conclusively soft onto medium. Even if we have a look at the 2-stop option, it's 5 seconds quicker. No need to make any changes to that. P3, P9. Let's have a good start and see what we can do.
We've got 44 laps ahead of us here in Spa as we get ready for the Belgian Grand Prix. Now I wonder, will things be going Lando Norris's way in this race?
They've done so well to secure a P3 grid position. Can they turn this into a podium finish, though?
And the time has come. Let's go racing. You can hear the excitement in the crowd here at the Belgian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And away we go, and straight away we can see Lando Norris is who we're keeping an eye on. He's tucked in behind Max Verstappen. George Russell fancied to move up the inside, but didn't quite get it. But it's actually Leclerc who gets the lead. Leclerc's on the mediums. Lando Norris is the only one of the front three who is on the soft compound tyre. He will be looking to make moves earlier and possibly pull out a gap on these 2 cars in front. I don't want to be overly aggressive at the start because we don't want to ruin his race. We can sit in a little bit. Pierre Gasly in P9. He's going to be looking to make moves as well. I'm thinking we can possibly get the undercut if we need to. That might help us. And obviously our medium tyres might be strong towards the end. But as we come to the middle of lap 1, Leclerc's in P1, Lando Norris P3. It's pretty much as you were at the start. We have a yellow flag on circuit, and it is Théo Pourchaire, who was actually in P6 at the time of this happening. And Théo Pourchaire, after such a promising start to the season, in fact, one of the best starts to the season as a rookie I think I've ever seen on F1 Manager, Did so well, but he's starting to fumble a little bit towards the end of this season, or the middle part of this season at least. What that has done is promote Pierre Gasly up into P8. He's going to be pushing on now, trying to catch up with the two cars in front. Lando Norris dropped out of the DRS of Verstappen and Leclerc, and that has cost him. Now he's got to really push on and try and get back towards Verstappen. We're telling him to push on everything at the moment, but between him and George Russell, they've got to attack this front two. And Lando Norris has just got the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. We're going to have a little look at Lance Stroll running wide into turn 4. He was in P7. Pierre Gasly's actually chasing these down. And he took a little shortcut there through Eau Rouge. And Pierre Gasly said, I'll have a little bit of that. And he's passed up into P7. Is Pierre Gasly. We are, of course, on lap 5. But Lando Norris now, what he's also done, he's managed to pull the gap to George Russell behind. So that was a crucial bit of this race for Lando Norris. If we can keep breaking the DRS of George Russell, that would be ideal. We are actually going to tell Lando Norris to be a little bit more aggressive. I'd like to get past one, if not both of these cars, and try and pull out a little bit of a gap while we've got the tyre advantage. But Pierre Gasly now, he's pushing along nicely. He's got a 1.3 second gap to Stroll and trying to catch Sainz. Lap 9, you join us back. Lando Norris is having to do everything he possibly can to stay in touch with this front two. We've had to burn his tyres at time. We've had to really push on the battery. But as we're coming on to lap 9, we are back in the DRS. We are just escaping from George Russell. Once again, we've been really managing it with Lando Norris today. Is he going to go for a move here? This is the first time for a while he's managed to get an option down the outside. Will he brake later? He won't. Verstappen covers him off. And once again, we cannot get past. And it's a very similar story with Gasly and the two Mercedes. He can't quite get past and use his tyres up. It's going to have to be an undercut for Pierre Gasly, and that's how we're going to get past these two Mercedes. Lap 9. And on lap 10, Pierre Gasly has finally got an overtake done on Esteban Ocon. Lovely, sorry, not on Esteban Ocon, on Carlos Sainz. Lovely work from him. Got that DRS as well, which meant he could pull up to the bike of his old teammate Esteban Ocon. So Pierre Gasly now running in P6, hasn't quite got the DRS on Esteban Ocon, but we can push him on a little bit more now. Lando Norris, though, is sticking in with these front two beautifully. And now, because their medium tyres are lasting, this is helping our race as well. It's looking good for Lando Norris, but on lap 10, it's Russell in P4, Ocon P5, Gasly's in P6, then comes Sainz, Perez, Stroll, and Kevin Magnussen making up the top 10. And do you know what we like to see? We like to see Pierre Gasly overtaking Esteban Ocon. Not that we had a favourite when we first had them both at Alpine, but that is a lovely move from Pierre Gasly past his old teammate, who's on the medium compounder tyre, it must be said. Will be racy towards the end. In fact, should be a little bit more racier now. What we are doing in all this is pulling out a nice gap to George Russell in P4. We are looking to see where this yellow flag is on circuit. Pierre Gasly, Schumacher. Mick Schumacher crashing into turn 9. Let's have a look at this. Mick Schumacher, P14 at the moment. Quite fortunate, he didn't take out his teammate there. And he's just driven straight through the barriers. Obviously, his middle name's Harry Potter. He's got two middle names. You didn't know that, did you? Mick Harry Potter Schumacher's just driven through a wall for no apparent reason. But Lando Norris in P3, looking good. Pierre Gasly 6 seconds back from the lead group. Getting his pit stop right could be very important today. Esteban Ocon has just overtaken Pierre Gasly. Let's have a little look at this. Pierre Gasly and Ocon have been battling all the way here. And I think we are going to get an incident after this as well, which is probably not something we're going to enjoy seeing. But Esteban Ocon did manage to get Pierre Gasly into turn 1. Then we got an information that we had a car crash, and that car involved Pierre Gasly. Let's have a look here. He's got the inside line as Pierre Gasly down the inside. And Esteban Ocon just turns in, and that smashes our Andretti Cadillac off the road along with the Mercedes. It's massive disappointment in the Andretti garage, and we will have a look at what's happened to Pierre Gasly's car, front wing, everything. We need to look at this. Pierre Gasly is coming into the pits. It's Esteban Ocon who has been deemed at fault for that incident, and Pierre Gasly will come in for a pit stop. Lando Norris is tagging onto the back of Leclerc well, but this is a sad sight and something that was clearly not Pierre Gasly's fault there. Esteban Ocon just turned into him, maybe a little bit frustrated. We need a new wing on. It doesn't exactly look like it's a really good stop either. Pierre Gasly's going to be fuming. He's on the medium compounder tyre. It's an 8.7 second stop. and Gasly will go tumbling down the order here as Lando Norris has been burning his tyres up a little bit. He's doing okay though, but Pierre Gasly now out in P17. Very disappointing. We may end up retiring Pierre Gasly's car, but he's got to make these medium tyres last a long time now. Kevin Magnussen has not been having a bad race, it must be said, but then he's just gone and done this, and this is so disappointing for K-Mag. Locking up, what he does do is help us get Pierre Gasly back into the points-paying positions. Gasly's been on these medium tyres, pushing along. He's at a little bit of traffic. Obviously, we didn't have an option when to bring Pierre Gasly in. We have had an option in when to bring in Lando Norris. And Lando Norris is coming in now because I reckon we could be on for a very decent undercut here should we get this pit stop right. So here we go. Lando Norris is in on lap 19 of 44, as is George Russell. George Russell's had the same idea. We've actually covered off the Red Bull, which is nice. Let's hope we get a decent stop here, which we look like we're going to do. Lando Norris is away 3.1 seconds. George Russell had a decent stop as well. But this is a big opportunity now for Lando Norris to push on these tyres. He shouldn't come out in any traffic, which he won't. Perez is just trundling round turn 1. Lando Norris is clear. And Lando Norris now, it is hammer time. Right, Pierre Gasly overtaking Daniel Ricciardo, doing the same thing they did to Esteban Ocon. But this time, Daniel Ricciardo decided to leave him some space, which was rather nice of him. Pierre Gasly up into P13. We've just had a crash on circuit as well, which I'm hoping to God he's not going to bring out a safety car. It's Kevin Magnussen, and I was just saying how he was having a decent Grand Prix. Let's have a little look what happens here. Magnussen spins, and then the Haas does as well. And they just collide with each other. So that's 2 cars off. But Lando Norris putting in the laps now, pushing on everything, because we know for a fact we need to build this gap towards Leclerc and Verstappen, lap 20. And Teo Pourchaire and these Alfa Romeos are really struggling at this moment to keep these cars on the road. He didn't even look like he was going fast, and he's just spun off. Teo Pourchaire, P20. Lando Norris is lapping at this moment 142.4, plays a 145 near enough. So Lando Norris is closing at an absolute rate of knots. He's actually started topping up his battery a little bit as well. So Lando Norris at the moment pushing on everything. We are trying to catch these two in front. Lap 21. And Pierre Gasly is trying to battle back for some points. This is a brave drive from Pierre Gasly. He could have gone up after that smash, but he's got problems. We've got damage, but Pierre Gasly has just overtaken a Ferrari. He's up into P12 now. He's got a few cars left to pit as well in front of him as Pierre Gasly. So at the moment he's doing okay. Not lapping at the same pace of the Williams. The Williams cars very much all intact, and the Andretti Cadillac very much not. You can see the damage on the side pod on the left-hand side of Pierre Gasly. As we just go around this corner, just look at the damage here on that car. But Lando Norris is giving it the absolute beans here. He's now within 11 seconds. He's pulled out a 10-second gap to George Russell. And we are now just going to calm down a little bit on the tyres as well. Lap 22. And what is possibly the one thing that we didn't want to happen, there is a safety car on circuit, and that is a massive blow to us. But we are going to pit Lando Norris because you lose 8 seconds under safety car. That, to me, makes sense to pit him. We're actually going to do the same as well with Pierre Gasly. In fact, let's just hold the phone a little bit, because we may be able to put Pierre Gasly on a set of soft compound tyres, which we can. And a set of soft compound tyres now would possibly reach the end. So we're going to split this up a little bit now, because Pierre Gasly, as we just go back to the race screen, is going to come in for a fresh set of soft compound tyres. Lando Norris hasn't got a fresh set of soft compound tyres, so he's going to come in and go on to a fresh set of medium compound tyres. We'll come back when we get back to the pit stops. Here we go then, into the pits, and this is so fortunate for Leclerc and Verstappen. Let's have a little look at Charles Leclerc's pit stop. The Ferrari crew looks a decent stop. It doesn't look a decent stop. Charles Leclerc's been held massively. Verstappen's away. He's on a fresh set of soft compound tyres. We haven't got the soft compound tyres to use, so that's not me making a problem. That is just simple fact, we haven't got them. A fresh set of mediums now for Lando Norris goes on to. George Russell has stayed out, but I reckon having that fresh set of soft compound tyres, we should just about come out in front of George Russell. We haven't, actually. George Russell's managed to come out in front of us. We've got a few cars pitting. Pierre Gasly's going to be another one that pits as well. But Lando Norris out, actually, into P3. So Russell didn't get past him. And then, obviously, we'll close up. But we're on mediums. The two guys in front are on softs. This may come to us towards the end. And of course, Pierre Gasly is in as well. He's got a fresh set of soft compound tyres. We may as well use them. He's not had the best day. This might offset a little bit the cars in front of him and that damage, which is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping this is going to offset it as Pierre Gasly comes in. It's a decent stop from our guys. Sub 3 second pit stop. Decent. Very, very decent indeed. I'm not as nervous with our pit stops now as I was once upon a time, but Pierre Gasly will be glad to get onto a fresh set of soft compound tyres and look to make moves once again. I don't think we're out of this at all. Let me know now at this halfway mark, do you think we can win it on the medium tyres down in the comments? Because I've got a funny feeling we might just be able to. We'll come back when we're back to green flag running. Here we go then, guys. Lap 25. We are back to green flag running. And this is going to be so interesting. And what is going to work well, I would hope, for Lando Norris is this. Lando Norris has got George Russell in a very quick Red Bull behind him, but on a used set of medium compound tyres. George Russell did not pit. We did with Lando Norris. The tyre wear on the front two is going to capitulate towards the end of this Grand Prix, which is when I'm hoping we will be able to strike. But Lando Norris has got to stick with this front two. If he can do that, we are going to be in a very, very solid position. Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly has got the opposite effect. He's got to attack on these soft compound tyres. See what he can do here. Anything can happen in this Grand Prix in Spa. There's a long way to go, but don't write us off for a win just yet. Pierre Gasly has started to make a couple of moves, and the first move he's made is on Nick De Vries in the Alfa Romeo Haas, managing to get past him through Eau Rouge. It's lovely work from Pierre Gasly, who has now got a Hugo Boss in his sights, fighting down in P13. It's not where he deserves to be. It's not where he should be today, but he's pushing on as much as he possibly can. Meanwhile, at the front, Lando Norris, we have managed to drop George Russell, but we are not managing to make gains on the front two at the moment. I'm just starting to bide my time on the tyres a little bit, which is my main focus, because it's going to be crucial towards the end how we manage these tyres. And if these two keep battling the way they are doing, we are going to come back into this. Fear not, we are not out of it yet. We certainly should get a podium, but can we catch these front two? I would hope so. Pierre Gasly at this moment in time, P12 now, has got P11 in his sights. He might get some points today, Pierre. Yeah, do you know that last minute where we said Pierre might get some points today? Well, this was the overtake on Yuki Tsunoda. Now, bearing in mind, Pierre Gasly, he's not exactly pushing in terms of overtaking. He's aware he's got damage. Well, it must be said, he's got a little bit more damage now, because that is Pierre Gasly in a wall. And we are looking to see what the replay of this crash is. Let's have a little look at this. Pierre Gasly, here we go, in P15 at this moment in time. And what happened here? I mean, that Pierre Gasly has got every right to be swearing on the radio, because that is a huge punt. Pierre Gasly is out. We've got DRS disabled. I'm not sure if it's a virtual or a full core safety car. It's a virtual safety car. That's going to help us a little bit again. We'll harvest on the energy. We'll just go a little bit lighter on the tyres. We're trying to get rid of the fuel, if anything. But Lando Norris, just the one Andretti. But my word, Pierre Gasly does not deserve what he has had today. And on lap 31, virtual safety car has ended, and it must be said, we got a fantastic restart there. We are now just 1.8 seconds behind Verstappen and Leclerc. Their tyres are dying. By the time we get to the latter stages of this Grand Prix, I fancy us to win this at a canter. We'll just have a quick rundown of the top 10. We've got Leclerc from Verstappen, obviously Norris and Russell in P3 and 4, Stroll's in P5, Bottas P6, Albon in the Aston Martin in P7, then comes Sainz, Perez, Giovinazzi in the Williams in P10. Lap 32, Lando Norris is in the DRS of the two front runners, and we are taking it that easy at this moment in time. We're pushing on the fuel. We're just relaxing on the tyres. Our time is going to come, people. Do not worry. Lap 32. Lap 40, and this is all building towards a fantastic finale here, because let's have a look at the tyre wear. 43% for Leclerc, 46% for Verstappen, 61 for Lando Norris. I've been on light for most of this last bit. We're actually now just topping up a little bit of ERS because we're going for a full-scale assault at the end of this Grand Prix. Lando Norris in P3, 4 laps to go. We can win this. You join us back on lap 43, and this could be the moment because Lando Norris has just overtaken Max Verstappen. Let's have a quick look at this. The tyres on these two guys are dead now, and Lando Norris is looking ever more likely to win this Grand Prix. He's now into second in the train, and we are just going up Eau Rouge because we have got a big DRS zone coming up, and Lando Norris is going to look to close on that Ferrari rather quickly. 35% tyres now for Charles Leclerc, and Lando Norris is going to gain all the way. We are going to get a chance to win this Grand Prix, and oh my word, there's a yellow flag on circuit, and this could deny us a Grand Prix. If there is a safety car. It's a Teo Pourchaire lockup. We are going to watch the replay, of course, but this is not the main story today. Teo Pourchaire has had more spins than a fidget spinner today. My word, what is Teo Pourchaire in that Alfa Romeo doing? But forget about Teo Pourchaire because it's all eyes now on Lando Norris, and I am sure, in fact, I'm more than sure, we are going to get a chance here because we are 0.8 of a second back, and it's now going to be full attack mode for Lando Norris towards the end of this lap and the start of next. Leclerc's tyres now on 33%. He is going to be very, very slow in a moment, and I would expect Lando Norris, with the talent that he's got, with the car that he's got, and with the tyres that he's got as well, to be able to beat these, because I might have even said tyres twice there in that little section, but I'm not too sure. But Lando Norris now is starting to push on to look towards that scarlet red Ferrari and see if we can get the win. We are, of course, on lap 43 as we go through the bus stop chicane. We are only going to go through this once more. And Lando Norris has got the tyres as we start the final lap of the Grand Prix. It's 32% for Leclerc, 37% for Verstappen, and Lando Norris down the inside gets the move done. Lando Norris in turn 1 on the final lap of the Grand Prix is in the lead, and now he has got to always defend, but I think we can push away here now with Lando Norris. He's been very aggressive on the tyres, but now can that Ferrari with DRS? Surely it cannot. The tyres on the Ferrari and the Red Bull must be absolutely dead and buried, and I would suggest I'm not even going to tell Lando Norris to always defend at the moment because I don't want him to hold up and be looking in his mirrors. He can literally drive to victory here should he wish. He's got the ERS all to use. He can push on the fuel, and I've got to say, I think we've managed this absolutely beautifully today at Andretti Cadillac. Pierre Gasly deserves to be up there, possibly could have been in the top 5 today. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing an Andretti Cadillac beating a Red Bull, beating a Ferrari, and it's looking like we're going to beat them by over a second. Lando Norris, I'm even going to turn the tyre wear down a little bit, because there is no need to push to the end here, because as we see, Lando Norris coasting through sector 3, 1.4 seconds is the gap. We are just turning everything down because Lando Norris, it's a close battle for second, but Leclerc looks like he's got it at this moment in time. We can see it in the rear wing of the Andretti Cadillac, but as we come round the final corner, Lando Norris, once again, is a Grand Prix winner, and he wins the Belgian Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc gets P2, Verstappen P3. Lando Norris is a very, very special driver, and we are a very, very lucky team to have him. Let's just have a look at the race-winning celebrations, because I said with what, 10, 15 laps to go, we may win this at a canter today, and we did in the end. Lando Norris, I take my hat off to you if I had one on the Andretti pit wall. We are absolutely buzzing. Let's get to the podium, because there's more champagne to be had.
What a remarkable drive by Lando Norris today.
An inspired strategy from the team there. What a well-deserved win that was.
A great display of team spirit there, as everyone finally gets the chance to share this moment. And after such a fabulous drive here today, it's no surprise to see this man land on the podium.
What a great way to take their third win this year. They've definitely found their form.
Lando Norris must be absolutely loving the decision he made to come to Andretti Cadillac, third win of the season, and it must be said, Max Verstappen is not used to losing this many Grand Prix in a season. We've got 3 exceptionally talented drivers there on the podium, but what a sight that is, because Lando Norris wins the Belgium Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc P2, Verstappen P3, George Russell not in our league today, P4, Stroll in P5, Bottas P6, more good points for Valtteri Bottas. Possibly could be someone we look at moving forward. Checo Perez P7, Giovinazzi P8, Albon P9, and Nick De Vries gets the solitary point in P10. 3 DNFs, Yuki Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly. 2 of those guys got penalties, and Pierre Gasly did not deserve to be a DNF today. Driver standings wise, Max Verstappen still leads the way on 315 points. He is now at 95 in front of George Russell. Lando Norris closes the gap on his fellow Brit to 177 points now for Lando Norris, extending his lead to Leclerc to 57 points in P3. And constructors standings wise, we are level on points with Ferrari in P2. Red Bull have got it won. But if we could get P2, that would be some result. Ladies and gentlemen, what another Grand Prix it is. I'm glad that you're enjoying the series. We keep getting more subscribers. We keep getting more views and more likes. And I'm absolutely loving it. Thank you so much for all your support. And I shall see you on the next one. Ta-ra!